All right, how's everybody doing today? Hope y'all had a wonderful weekend wherever you were in the world. We're going to start off with this, and this might be significant. So, if Trump has to leave the stage, it may happen today, especially if tomorrow is that great eighth day, right? Because, and this goes again back to the back to the Bible. This Jesus character, right? Um, is going to bring about the millennial reign and 1,000 years of peace, supposedly, right? That's somewhere in the scripture. I didn't bother looking it up to give the exact whatever. Okay, so when you look at the generations, Gen X, the boomers, we're in the millennial age, correct? And a day is like 1,000 years. So if he exits the scene today, and disappears for 1,000 years, brings peace, right? Because the other thing that's going on in the news is, Trump's given the green light to Israel and Russia's given the green light. I mean, everybody's given the green light to go knock each other out, so to speak. So the timing, I don't make this stuff up. The timing is what the timing is. Because, and I want to go back, so we're right here. Tomorrow is going to be that eighth day, right? And I still don't think we're going to make it past here, but there is a path, okay, that takes us to the blue moon, because that's only 4 days away. In one of the Jesus stories, he was in the tomb. When they went to check on him, he had already left, so he didn't spend the full 3 days there. And I've talked about, the Hopi prophecies, the three worlds. We're in the fourth world, the process box. Okay? So if we have to do 4 days of darkness, once we get to this point, that would take us to the blue moon. And let's talk about that one for a minute. Because again, I don't think, like I said, a lot is going to be determined, I think, what happens with Donald Trump at Walter Reed. If they tell him it's time to go, I doubt he's going to die, but, they may keep him, right? I don't know. So I'm still looking very hard at this, quite honestly, where we are at tomorrow. But I said there is a path to here. Now the thing about the moon, and there is, I went through a bunch of lyrics. Of course we got the fall of the peace. I've talked about this song before. A king without a sword, a land without a king. Okay. That was that whole rededication ceremony. And this actually shows up when you look at things like the chessboard. Every piece on here is limited in its movement to a certain way, except for the king and queen. They can both travel any direction on the board. They have equal powers, but the king doesn't have a sword, so he only gets to move one square at a time. That's just how I see that. So, so we had that song. There's other songs. Overcome. I've mentioned this one before. Don't cry victim to me. Everything we are and used to be is buried and gone. Okay. And there's just a lot of stuff in here. There's a lot of stuff in everything. I've talked about the song Jars by Chevelle. So Blue Morning, Blue Day. And the funny thing is, I know all these songs, having played in garage bands back in the day when I was younger. We were constantly keeping our music folder busy and learning this stuff out in the streets at 6 a.m. Another sleepless night. This gets back to, I think, that fourth watch, right? And that comes from, blue morning, blue day. So back to the moon. Okay, so when you go back to Mesopotamia, the moon is considered sin. Okay? That's what they named it. It's also called the lesser light, right? It's the lesser light. So in the inverted world, that's when the greater light would appear in the sky. Okay, and why is it called the blue moon? Because it has to do with the return of the blue and red Kachina. So we may have to do out those 4 days of darkness at the end of here, and then the moon will be replaced with the Son of Man, so to speak. But I'm still having a hard time with that one, because we still got to get through today into tomorrow with the whole Walter Reed thing, right? Another song I want to show you here. Did I even put it in here? Oh my goodness, I bet I didn't. I didn't. Okay, it has to do with Symphony of Destruction. There's a line in there, watching mortal man become a god. So let's redefine something here, because it's just like everything else. Okay, what is a god? Okay, these are just words. What is a god? What is love? What is hate? This is verbal voodoo. Just like, you have two and two and two, right? This can mean also, right? It's just verbal voodoo, period. And in fact, going through the time machine, if we're actually all the way back in time to when that book was written, which is still, it's just an overlap. But anyway, so when you look at the way that book is written, does anybody speak that way? Okay, verbal voodoo. Verbal voodoo. Okay, everything's written. It is what it is. Okay, so these are just words, right? It's the intent you put, what does it mean to you? Remember, our heart, our eyes are all attached to Source, God. Again, it's just a word. It's the intent you put behind it, right? Okay, so, watching mortal man become a god, that's just a word. And, in my opinion, I have my own opinions on what that means. Everybody's going to have their own opinions on what that means. It's so funny. So, that's where we're headed, right? So, like I said, I just don't know what's going to happen today. Going into tomorrow, that 8th day, it could very well be blue morning, blue day. Wake up at 6 a.m. and there's a nice blue sun. And I think that gets back to the 88% and the 12% darkness. If you have a bright blue, shiny, big, bright blue, it's not going to be very dark. It might be a little dimmer compared to, but I don't know. We'll know when we get there, right? Which is why we have something called Project Bluebeam that makes our skies look blue, right? They're supposed to be blue because of the blue sun. They're not, because nothing's there. It is what it is. So anyway, this is, I think this is where as they say, the rubber meets the pavement. We're going to know a whole lot about what's going on after today, I do believe. So hold tight. Like I said, there is a path to get to the blue moon. I don't know. Like I said, this will determine quite a bit. if it's just another day and we go through here, the fighting already ramped up. Last night sometime or yesterday, I heard some ports were hit. So we very well could have started however many days of darkness leading. Who knows? Who knows? It could just be, these days right here, the last 3 days are the last 3 days of darkness going to the 8th day. That's why the fighting ramped up last night. Who knows? All I know is interesting things are upon us, right? It's a great time to be alive, so just laugh at all of it, right? That's all you got to do. All right, I love you all. Take care. Have a great day, and I don't know, just enjoy. Bye bye.